This is Metal Mike, and in this episode we catch up with Pretty Boy Floyd guitarist Kristy Majors. We revisit the classic Leather Boys with Electric Toyz album over 30 years later, and we get some details on the new Pretty Boy Floyd album that's on the way. It's a fun one. Check it out. Well, Kristy, welcome to the 80's Glam Metalcast. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks.
Hey, I've been trying to catch up with you for a long time. Glad to finally have you on.
Yeah, I tend to usually avoid interviews, but good to be on them.
Well, this is, 80's Glam Metalcast. This is where you belong, right?
This is where I belong? Okay. If you say so, okay. It's all good.
Well, hey, it sounds like Pretty Boy Floyd's got some activity on the way. There's a lot of shows coming up, and sounds like there might even be new music on the way. What can you give us?
Okay, well, yeah, there's some shows coming up, obviously. If anybody follows our, social media pages and stuff, they could see the shows coming up. Unfortunately, COVID is putting a little damper into some of these shows and
Sure.
festivals and stuff that we want to do, especially the overseas ones. So we had to cancel, like, Australia, and we keep on pushing stuff back. But we'll see what happens. Let's see. Yeah, we have I finished the new Pretty Boy Floyd record. It's been done.
Okay.
And then COVID, came around, and he was supposed to, come and finish the vocals on it,
Mm-hmm.
and or just start the vocals. And so COVID came around, and we just thought we would, wait. We thought it was going to be, something that was going to pass quickly, and but obviously it's not. So we've been talking about it, that hopefully we can finish it maybe this year and get it out next year over on Frontiers.
Nice. So. For the direction, I'm assuming it's, Pretty Boy Floyd type vibe, similar to the last album you did, or how is it different?
It's a little more heavier.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah. It's a little more heavier. Still got the same Pretty Boy Floyd sound and hooks and stuff. Just a little bit more raw in your face, and a little bit more kicking.
Nice. Well, man, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to get it done because it's probably going to be the last Pretty Boy Floyd record that we ever do. So. I'm looking forward to get it done because it's been sitting on my hard drive for a couple of years now.
Hey, man, you never know. There could be another one, right?
There could be another one. I don't know, man. It's hard. It's kind of hard for me to write those lyrics. The Pretty Boy Floyd style lyrics.
Right.
Yeah, easier to do when you were like 20 years old. But when you're 50 and you're writing about stuff like that, it's kind of hard.
It's funny,
Which is why I do solo music.
Right.
So that's my outlet for like my solo music.
Yeah, it's funny because just going back to like the Leather Boys with Electric Toyz album, I Want to Be With You. I was walking out of class the other day. You know what I mean? Like it's been a while since any of us have been in class, right?
Dude, okay, so come on, man. Look. When we wrote those songs, when those songs came out, when we put those songs together, I didn't think that I'd be 50 fucking years old singing, walking out of class the other day, or Your Mama Won't Know. Only the young understand. It's kind of ridiculous, actually, to fucking do those songs now, because it's like, dude, everybody in the audience is old. How can we be singing Only the Young Understand? Nobody's young here anymore.
Well, hey, at least you don't have a song. You don't have a song called "She's Only 17."
That's true. Especially when you're singing it when you're 55 years old.
She's only 17. Maybe is what it's going to be coming up, right?
Yeah. It's a little creepy. I feel a little silly. Singing those songs, but you know what? If Kiss can still do it, then we can still do it, right? So
Exactly. Now, some shows you don't play at, and some of the more recent ones, do you have business that kind of keeps you away from the band sometimes?
Okay, so I went through some I don't know. I guess like the past 2.5 years, went through some personal health issues.
Okay.
That forced me to take some time off. now that everything is better and everything is good, I am I'm ready to go out there and start playing shows again. So
awesome.
I mean, that's the real reason. I didn't announce it formally. I've kind of beaten around the bush about it to some people, but hey, look, it's my business. It's nobody else's business.
Sure.
But I understand people want to know if I'm going to be there because I mean it's only me and Steve left in Pretty Boy Floyd, really. So
right.
But yeah, I mean that was the reason why that was the reason why I kind of took like 2.5 years off. So
okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're doing better. That's great.
Yeah, no, I'm good and I'm ready to go. And I didn't pick up my guitar for the longest time. I just picked it up, a couple weeks ago and started learning the songs all over again. I'm like, okay, well, you don't really forget them, so
no.
It's cool.
Yeah, I think that stuff comes back quick.
Yeah, especially when you've been playing for 30 years.
Speaking of 30 years, over 30 years ago, Leather Boys with Electric Toyz. I mean, does it seem possible that this album is over 30 years old at this point?
Freaking crazy, right? It's like, God, time flies so fast.
It does.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Yeah, I think, I don't remember when I think it might have came out, like September, October, or something like that of '89?
Yeah,
I remember.
I know I bought it when it came out, but yeah, I can't remember. I just remember buying it in '89. I don't remember the month.
Yeah, I know it was more towards the the latter part of the year because I remember when we were talking to the label about like getting ads at radio stations, we were having a hard time because program directors were going on vacation and stuff and everything like that. It was kind of crazy. But yeah, it's crazy that album is so old.
I would go out on a limb and say that it's possibly bigger today than it was back then. Would you agree with that?
It's so hard for me to evaluate something like this because it's like I see it when I go overseas because there's a whole new young generation that come to the shows. In the U.S., maybe not as much, but I think it's like a cult classic. I think like a bad B movie that like when it comes on TV, you don't want you don't want to turn it off. You kind of want to watch it, That's the way I look at the record,
Right. I mean, me personally, obviously, I love this kind of stuff, so I put it up there with some of the greatest, glam metal 80s releases ever. I'm in a Twitter community, with a lot of people that love this stuff. But man, if I tweet Pretty Boy Floyd, or a lot of other people do as well, you see a lot of people jumping on. Awesome album, incredible album. Every song is great. People just love this album.
Yeah, we were like, we were kind of like this underground, kind of like underdog type of band because we kind of came out like during the tail end of like that whole music scene, and so we were like that last wave, to kind of hit, but. The record has like a unique sound, catchy songs, In fact, I was talking to Howard Benson not too long ago, who produced the record, and he said to me something like, he's like, I can't believe I mixed that record. And Howard Benson has gone on to do some crazy records, huge, humongous, successful records. Like everything from like POD to Hoobastank to, I mean, he's sold millions and millions. Rascal Flatts. I can't even name all the bands he's produced. But we were like the second like rock band that he produced. He had just got done doing the Bang Tango record, the first Bang Tango record, and so and then we were the second record that he did. But he was saying I can't believe I mixed that record. He's like, and then he admitted something to me. He goes, you know what? He goes, for the longest time, I used to keep that off my resume.
That's not good.
I was like, thank you, Howard. And he goes, he goes, I just didn't feel like it was one of my finest pieces of work. So I go, and he goes, but I put it back on now because I realize now that the record, like, it fit with that time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a unique sound. Had it like sounded, you know, like all the other bands that were coming out at that time, it probably would have got lost in the shuffle, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. I've got this written down because I talked with Howard Benson, I don't know, maybe 6-8 months ago, and obviously we talked about this album, and he was raving about it. You know, he's raving about you. He goes, you know, your guitar playing was amazing, the songs were amazing, and he was raving about it, man. And he actually told me a story. I don't know if he ever told you this or if you've heard this, but he must have, I don't know if he bumped into Nikki Sixx in recent years, and they got talking about Toast to the Town, and Nikki was like, oh, you guys did a great version of that on you know, the Pretty Boy Floyd album. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that Nikki Sixx, you know, thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, really? Oh, that was cool.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I ran into Nikki Sixx a few times. I never asked him what he thought of the thing. I'm not going to say, hey, what did you think of our version of Toast to the Town, man? You know? So I'm not going to say that to him, but, you know, so this is a couple of years ago that I was talking to Howard. So you recently did an interview with Howard? Yeah, it was a couple of years ago that I was talking to Howard, and, you know, then that's when Howard said, you know what? He goes, but you know what? The record was, you know, it was a good record. It was a good record for the time. I put it back on my resume, you know?
Yep.
And, yeah, me and Howard, me and him had a vision for the record. It didn't come out exactly the way that I wanted it to, but still, it like I said, it was, Howard did a great job, and, I like and I respect Howard a lot, so he's a good guy.
Now, if you look back, I mean, you were on MCA Records, and I've gone on, you know, rants about MCA Records with different artists before, but overall, do you think you were maybe misunderstood at this point? Because you figure in 89, 90, in that era, a lot of people had shed the makeup and the glam look. You know, like 86 was like a real big year for like glam with Poison and Cinderella, and everybody had kind of shed that look. And here you guys come out in 89 with that look back. Do you think people misunderstood what you were about, or do you think that was what you were about and it's either, you know, take it or leave it?
Well, I mean, that's, you know, this was something that we were always influenced by. I don't think it was like something that we, you know, that we intentionally did. You know, that we said, oh, we have to do this. I mean, I think this is what we all liked. You know, we all liked, you know, the Motleys, the Alice, you know, the Kisses, you know.
Yep.
You know, we all dug that, you know, kind of like that whole vibe and stuff and everything. And so we were just being ourselves. And, you know, and then being on MCA, Al Teller, who was the president of CBS at the time, had just left there to start running MCA Records. I don't even think they knew what they were doing, because
right.
I remember when we first did the Set the Night on Fire video, you know, they were like, oh yeah, no, we need you guys like glam, fucking makeup, this, that, you know, fucking play the image up, fucking do this, do that. And we were like, yeah. And then when it came time to do the second video, they were like, yeah, maybe you guys shouldn't wear as much makeup.
Right.
And, maybe we're going to put it in black and white. Maybe we should shoot it in black and white. So we toned down the image a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's do like all new photo shoots. Dude, they didn't even know what they were doing, you know. So we used to go into meetings, and I remember we'd be sitting at the big office table, and there would be, you know, Al Teller, the president, Richard Palmisi, the vice president, and like, you know, the head of radio and everything. And we'd be sitting at the other end, and they'd be like, so what do you think we should do? The record label asking a bunch of fucking 21-year-old kids, what do you think we should do?
I don't know.
I'm like, you know what? Give me $2 million. I'll go put it in my bank right now. I'll be good. But yeah, they didn't know what to do, and I think the problem was you know, that, you know, everything was so saturated at that time. Yeah. You know, there was like MTV only had so many slots to, you know, put so many bands in rotation. Radio stations only had so much so many spots to put bands in rotation, and and it was hard. And I think the reason why we still have like kind of like a grassroots, underground kind of following is because, we weren't accepting that, our songs weren't like, top 10 on radio or whatever, top 40 radio, whatever. And we were just like, we're just going to go out there and we're going to play. We're going to go out there and we're going to play shows. We're going to tour. We're going to tour. We're going to tour. And we used to do a constant run from like, Seattle all the way down to Texas and back. Seattle all the way down to Texas and back. And we would do it like every 3 months. And, we'd find a different band to do it with. We'd find, another band that was like us, like Shaka Messiah. We'd be like, hey, do you want to go out and do some shows together? And they were like, fuck yeah, let's go do them, I think that's why we kind of like kept our like little like underground following,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because of the record label, I'll tell you that much.
No, they definitely blew a few bands, and a couple. I mean, some of my all-time favorites come off of MCA: Pretty Boy Floyd, Lillian Axe, and Keel. And I think all three of those bands just should have been way bigger than they were, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. I'm not bitter about it. I mean, I had a great time. So, I consider myself fortunate to even get the opportunity,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got a favorite song on Leather Boys with Electric Toyz?
Favorite song? Maybe Rock and Roll Outlaws. Maybe might
that's
be.
a good one. Yeah. Yep.
It's got like cool elements of like things that we stole from so many like other bands, from like The Sweet and I don't even want to say where we stole some of the stuff from, but anyway, it was I like Rock and Roll Outlaws. Rock and Roll Outlaws is always a cool kind of a song, and I always kind of figured that we were kind of like the Rock and Roll Outlaws anyway at that time,
Yeah, you were. Yeah, definitely. And I'm a big fan of those like real glammy poppy songs, and I always like The Last Kiss. I love that song.
I knew you were going to say that, The Last Kiss. So funny because so when we I didn't want to record that song for the record. We had some other songs, and but Howard was just like, oh, we have to record that song.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, dude, that's the single. And I'm like, what? That's the single? You're out of your mind. So Howard was pushing for that to be the single. He was like, oh, The Last Kiss has got to be the single, dude. Are you kidding me? And I don't know. Anyway, we didn't really have a say in it, but The Last Kiss, look, we usually don't play that song in the set, but
yeah.
Now that we're doing these 30th anniversary shows, I remember we played them for the 25th anniversary shows. We were playing that song, and I'm like, the song actually isn't that bad. It's actually pretty cool,
If everybody goes for a pee break during that one, then you'll know that you're right, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
I mean, it's definitely not a bad song. I mean, I could think of like, I could have thought of some other songs that would have been better to fit on the record at the time, but I think some of them we put on the. I think some of the demos we put on the Porn Stars record, like Shy Diane and Restless, and some of those type of songs. I can't even remember what else. And then we had like Shock the World, and I can't even remember 7 Minutes in Heaven. We had a lot of songs.
Yeah, you guys were brewing up a whole other release for like a second album. And I love all those songs. Some of the ones you've already mentioned, like Restless and Tonight Belongs to the Young. I mean, it sounds like the next, album would have been amazing.
Well, what happened was, so Fred Hartman, our A&R guy that signed us at MCA, they let him go.
Mm-hmm.
And the A&R guy that was put in charge of us was like kind of like a top 40 like R&B kind of guy. And so we would give him songs, and he'd be like, yeah, I don't hear it. And we were out there, and we were writing with all these different writers, like The Tonight Belongs to the Young and Hands Off My Radio. I mean, pretty much everything that was on that Tonight Belongs to the Young.
Yeah.
Album, almost all the songs on there were written with, outside writers as well, And I don't know, we had mapped probably like over 100 songs, and I'm sure demos are probably all over the internet and everything. But I thought Tonight Belongs to the Young was like pretty fucking cool ass fucking song. Like I thought, like Bon Jovi could have put that out and it probably would have been like a hit, right?
Yeah, I love it.
But the A&R guy is just like, yeah, I don't hear it. He's like, you know what we need? We need something like more than words, crossover. We need like acoustic ballad. So then we wrote with an outside writer. Once again, we wrote "Give Me a Reason to Stay." I don't know if you know that one. It's on YouTube.
Okay, that one's not ringing a bell. I'll have to go look up that one.
It's a demo. I found it on YouTube, but I thought it was really a good song. But once again, we bring it to the A&R guy. He's just like, yeah, I don't hear it. So then finally, after him stringing us along for I don't know, maybe a year, I kind of said, you know what, this guy is never going to let us put out a record. Mm-hmm. And we're in '91 already here, so we're talking about Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, already starting to blow up, and all the rumors of all the bands getting drops, are happening already, So I just told the guys, I'm like, I'm done, man. So I actually went back to school and became a paralegal. So
wow,
yeah. And I actually started working for our attorney, who was our attorney/manager for Pretty Boy Floyd. It's funny because I used to think when he was like kind of like managing us and our attorney, I used to think he was doing such a shit job, because we'd go play somewhere and I would go down the street and find the nearest record store, and I would see that, they would have no CDs of us in the record store. There was no advertising of the show, no nothing, no posters, no nothing. And I would get on, I'd get on the payphone and I'd be like, "You're fired, you motherfucker! Why are we out here? People can't even go buy a fucking CD if they fucking see us fucking play. This is horse shit, blah blah blah." And so anyway, fast forward a couple years later, when I'm looking for a job, and I get my paralegal degree, and he was still doing law, and he was doing some record label stuff too as well. I said, "Hey, want to give me a job?" And he goes, wait. Are you asking me that you want to work for me now? And he goes, oh, he's like, payback is going to be a bitch. He's like, so now I'm going to be able to tell you to go fuck off. So anyway, he turned out to be like a really a great mentor of the music business for me, and kind of like a second father for me, and it's pretty great.
That's awesome. So they kind of kept going for a while, and I don't know if this was a good thing or bad thing, but you missed out on that image where they had the Speedos, right?
The heels and the G-strings? Yeah, that was not me. I am not in any of those pictures, and I would have never have done that. And I don't care that Bill Aucoin was managing them and Kenny Kerner, the masterminds of KISS. Yep. I don't care if they were telling me, because one, we all knew Bill Aucoin was gay, so I don't know, he's getting his rocks off to that kind of stuff or whatever. But yeah, no, you would have not caught me dead in high heels and fucking G-strings.
There's not a lot of those pictures out there, but you do see them once in a while, and it's like, wow, it's like a mix of Pretty Boy Floyd and Man-O-War and I don't know what else, but it's crazy looking. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah, sometimes I get tagged in it because sometimes they think that I am in the picture.
Right.
Maybe Ariel with like sunglasses on or something like that, and they think it's me or something like that. And I'm like, nope, untagged, thank you. That is not my ass. I do. You know what? I mean, I would sell my soul to sell, a gazillion records, but I would not parade around in fucking G-strings.
That's where we draw the line.
Draw the line somewhere.
But eventually, obviously, you reconnect with Steve, and you guys, started doing shows again. And we're just getting kind of hungry for it again after a while.
Was I getting hungry for it? I was working. So I was working for Sony Music, for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
My actually the attorney that I was working for started a small little record label, and Sony actually ended up buying it. So I was having a blast actually doing that, working on the other side of the music industry. But then, and I wasn't really playing Pretty Boy Floyd shows. I think it was Steve, Kerry Kane, Kerry Kelly, and whoever they could find on the bass at the time,
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really doing anything. But then Cleopatra came along, asked us to do like a re-record of the whole Leather Boys record, and I didn't want to do a whole re-record. I'm like, so we really need to do a whole re-record of the album? And he's like, well, it's out of print. You can't get it anymore. So, people want to hear that music. I'm like, how about we do some of the songs and we put some newer songs on there then?
Mm-hmm.
And, he agreed to that. And so, we went in and we recorded that. And, I don't know, it kind of got me itching back into music a little bit. We started playing shows again and stuff. I think we put out that. And I think we put out the Live at the Pretty Ugly Club. And then I think it was like, right around that time, I think we were playing a show like after that Pretty Ugly Club show or something. Was it the Pretty Ugly Club show? I don't know. Do you know what happened? I think it was we Kane said he needed a break. Kerry Kane said he needed a break, and I think we had gotten Dish at that time to come and play drums or something. But then Kerry came back for a little bit, and we were playing some show. I can't remember where it was. It was some like Tarzana, California over here. And after we got off the stage, Kerry goes in the backstage room and he throws his drumsticks against the wall. He says, I can't do this anymore. He's like, that's it, I'm done. And I said, you know what? I'm done too. So I think we both departed at that time, and I think that's when Steve got that lineup for for that shit album. What is that shit album called?
Is it the one that Size Does Matter? No, is that the right one?
Oh, yeah. Size Does Matter with the stupidest title in the world, too. Anyway.
I don't know if I've ever listened to much of that one. Am I better off that way, or what?
It's not a Pretty Boy Floyd record. Right. I mean, it's Steve singing, the bass player's songs.
Mm-hmm.
Who, it has nothing to do with Pretty Boy Floyd whatsoever, except Steve singing on it.
Gotcha.
It has no Pretty Boy Floyd vibe or sound or, hooky choruses. It's just, I don't know. Anyway.
So obviously you did Public Enemies in 2017. That's a great album. It definitely has some of the spirit of the debut, but it's a little heavier, I think, in some spots, and it's it's an updated sound.
You think it has an updated sound?
I think it does. I mean, yeah.
I mean, okay, so. When we were recording it, it was kind of sounding a little bit more raw sounding, But we don't have big budgets to,
right.
90% of that record was recorded in my studio. I have a small little studio here, that's like literally like 10 minutes away from my house,
Mm-hmm.
And I can't record drums in there. Like I can record drums in another studio, put them on my Pro Tools rig, and then bring it back, and I could do the guitars, bass, and vocals and everything in my studio, and it's super comfy because you're not pressured for time and
mm-hmm.
everything, and and I feel like I'm a pretty good ear, especially when it comes to recording Steve's vocals, to sit there and be patient while he sings like one line at a time, and he'll sing like one line. He'll sing like. We're rock and roll outlaws. Okay, let's listen to that back. Okay, let's double that. I'm like, okay. Let's triple it. I'm like, okay. Let's 4 times. I'm like, okay. So, I'm pretty patient when it comes to that. So anyway, I felt like I did a good job, and then Kerry Kelly helped me out with the drums, and Chad Stewart played the drums on the record. I did the bass and the guitars, and And then I was good friends with Cameron Webb, who he'd done like all the Motorhead records. He'd done like Megadeth. He'd done like Zebrahead. I was working with Puddle of Mud at the time, and we had just started recording some of their music for their new record, and I really got along with Cameron really well. So I said, "Hey, Cameron, I don't got a fucking big budget here, but would you be interested in mixing this Pretty Boy Floyd record?" He's like, "I don't know." And and the funny thing is Cameron used to compare his records with Howard Benson, because Howard was recording a lot of the Motorhead records.
Yep.
Before Cameron was doing them. So I go, Howard Benson recorded our first record, right? And he's like, "He did, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I go, "Do you think he could do a better job?" He's like, "You know what?" He goes, "You know what? I'll mix it. I will mix it."
You scammed him.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of tricked him into it, So anyway, so he mixed it, even though we probably shouldn't have afforded him. But I think that he was thinking very slick, very slick 80s kind of sound, and that's what he envisioned. And I was listening to it, and I'm like, it sounds pretty good, I mean, especially for the budget that we had. I'm proud of the record. I thought it came out well.
Yeah. Now, okay, so you knew what my favorite song was on Leather Boys. Could you guess what my favorite song would be on this album?
Painted On?
Yes! Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
It's the most popular song on the record.
You got it, man. I love it. So can you write some more of those kind of songs for the new album? I know you're going to do some heavy stuff, and I love heavy stuff, but I love that glammy stuff, too.
Yeah, you love that, that Nick Gilder kind of super poppy sound,
Love it.
Yeah. Now, hey, look, I'm a big fan of all the Nick Gilder songs. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times Backstreet Noise and all those songs were so good off of those first two Nick Gilder records. Big fan.
Yeah, I love that.
And
kind of stuff.
and then of course the Sweet. Come on,
Yep.
Sweet had some amazing pop songs too. But Painted On. It's the funny thing about Pretty Boy Floyd songs is they sound so simple. Like when you listen to them, they just sound so simple. But then when you have to learn them, you're like, oh my God, there's so many parts to these fucking songs. And because I've had drummers go, oh yeah, no problem, yeah, like Vic Fox or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, hey Vic, you want to come play some shows? Fuck yeah. And they'll come down and they'll try to do the intro to Rock My Outlaw. He's trying to do the drums. He's like, wait, the drums don't follow the guitar and the bass. He's like, why am I playing this wrong? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, and then it's got this stop over here and then not this stop over there. And then it goes to this other part. He's like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, man, dude, it's not AC/DC, man. It's not just 4-on-4.
Right.
Where you can just kind of fake your way through it. But when you listen to it, it sounds like it's easy.
Yeah. No, it's
But I dare people. It's like I dare people to pick it up and play the guitars and play the guitars to it or something like that. Because especially on this record, I put a lot of guitars on it.
Nice.
I did a lot of overdubbing, way more than what I did on the Leather Boys record. Only because at the time of the Leather Boys record, I didn't put a lot of like fills and stuff like that in the Leather Boys record. I don't know. I just didn't think about it. I was just like, I thought the demos that we did sounded so good, and we were pressed for time when we made the demos. I was like, oh, so we're just going to make a better sounding demo. That's the way I thought of it. But because I was at my studio and I could sit there by myself, I could sit there and go, you know what, I'm going to layer this and layer that, put this on that, put that on that. Maybe I'm going to put some keyboards in there.
Right.
Maybe I'm going to put some little chimes in here and there and stuff like that. Maybe I'm going to put some, reverse snares and, just, other stuff. And, eventually you got to let it go. You got to say, okay. I could sit here for 10 years and add, but eventually you just got to let it go and just say, okay, it's done.
Yeah, you can make yourself crazy with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's eventually like I'm super critical when I record like my solo stuff, and like I'll sit there like I'll record like I'll record the whole album and it'll be done. And I'll be done with the whole vocals and everything, and I'll be like getting ready to mix it, and then like I'll listen to it and I'll be like, you know what, I could sing these songs so much better, and I just scrub them all and I go and I sing them all over again, and then I'm like, you know what, I could probably sing it even better than that. And I'll go in there and I'll start singing them all over again. And I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm a fucking idiot. Just leave it alone.
It's stuff nobody would notice but you. You know what I mean? Oh, you're the only one that would ever notice that little thing that's driving you crazy. So,
because I sit there, like, I pick it apart. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, the vocals sound just a tiny bit distorted. I'm like, maybe they were a little too hot. Maybe I was recording just a little too hot in the microphone. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so it's not as hot. I'm going to re-record it again, and then it still sounds the fucking same. I'm just, this is the struggle of being creative.
Yeah. You wonder, is it a blessing or a curse, right?
Right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is. The problem is like I like to keep my mind occupied. I think that's one of the reasons why maybe I might go in there and like recut guitar solos, like 20 times over, or vocals or something else, because if I don't keep my mind occupied, I drive myself fucking crazy.
Nope. I totally know what you mean, man.
Yeah. I mean, too much time on your hands, mind having too much time to think.
Right.
Yeah. Go a little crazy.
Well, brother, man, I'm so glad that we got to talk about some Pretty Boy Floyd. I mean, been a big fan for a long time, and I'm really looking forward to the new music on the way. Anything you want to say to your fans out there in closing?
Well, first of all, so I posted a joke about like some album cover with like a cartoon drawing and like a bunch of naked girls, and it says like Pretty Boy Floyd, fuck the world or something. And I think I put it up there. I said, album coming soon, Pretty Boy Floyd, fuck the world. Anyway, it was a joke. So some publications or online whatever publications ran with it.
Oh boy!
And said, new Pretty Boy Floyd record coming out. And I'm just like, God, can't fucking write anything as a joke anymore.
Right.
I should have put just joking. That's my fault. Anyway, so that was a joke. That's not the truth. There's actually a real Pretty Boy Floyd record coming out. New, I'm probably going to have a new solo record as well. That's going to come out too. I've been working on a lot of songs. I've been posting like little snippets on Instagram. And, so look for some new music coming out. Look for some, shows. Please come out, support music. I know COVID sucks and having to wear a mask or whatever, whatever you got to do. But, we can use the help. And,
well, that was great talking with Kristy. Well, hey, we just hit 2,000 subs on YouTube. Thanks to all the subscribers.
Appreciate it, man. Well, hey, thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good one, man.